Okay, Grand Rising everyone. I trust we're doing well. So today we are looking at culture because I guess it's one of the main reasons for our awakening to protect our culture, to protect and preserve, also uphold our African heritage, to protect and preserve our land, among all other things. So the question is, what is culture itself? When we're in school, the definition they gave to us is culture is a way of life of a group of people. Now, if you'd ask me to just talk about culture in a lay view, I would say it's maybe the rules and regulations that bind a group of people together, that's their arts and practices and all that. If so, then the question is, in the first place, did humans come to make culture? As an African, that our ancestors, I know there are a lot of oral cultures, but that our ancestors laid down all our traditional cultures to the extent that we know A, B, C up to F is our culture. Anything from, let's say, M to Z is not our culture. As far as I'm concerned, most of our cultural norms and traditions were passed down orally, and I feel there's even an advantage in that, because probably if they had put them in books, with the changing of time, as it is with scientific facts, sometimes maybe you go to the hospital, doctor say you have just 1 year to live, but then you go home and out of wisdom and intuition realize that you can do other things to prolong your life, and then eventually live like up to 10 years, so that in a way it makes the experimental fact in the scientific book biased. So for ancestors even not to have written any down, it's hope, because now it leaves room for each one of us to work within our own experimentation to bring out facts that suit our situation, time, and essence. So if culture is a way of life of people based on their own rules and regulations, then the point is, does it remain static, or it does change at a point in time? Let's look at the culture like FGM, that's the removal of the female genital at a point in time, because at that time it was being done, the cultural norm was that when girls had that part, because it gets excited when stimulated, it makes them sexually promiscuous. So to remove it, it stops that act until eventually when they are ready for marriage, before they start having sex. But probably, unfortunately, they didn't look at the negative consequences, such that like diminishes the libido of the female completely, and sometimes even makes it painful for the ladies to have sex, because the point is now they don't have any stimulant that excites them. So I mean, what is even there to stimulate for sex to go on eventually? So if that's the case, then I feel most of us on those cultural or traditional or spiritual part are very biased sometimes, because sometimes some issues come up and it's like, oh, it's not culturally accepted, so I mean, we all have to be against it. Well, this is culturally accepted, we all have to take it in without even looking at the ABC plausible other factors that could eventually be an issue. Moreover, as far as I know, culture is, most of our ancestors had to modify our cultures periodically to suit the situation. For instance, I learned there's this fancy tribe, and at a point the whole tribe, or let's say community, was at a point of annihilation, to the extent that one person rose up and said, I choose to offer my life to save this community. And once that was done, it meant that occasionally, or let me say every year, somebody had to come out to say, I choose. So it was more like paying a debt on a periodic basis. And at that time, because the predecessor has given his own life, now to pay that debt, each time another life had to be given. And so let's say yearly, one person had to die. Every year, one person had to die. Eventually, till the elders of the land sat down and like, no, it's not good. We are killing human beings. And I mean, life is evolving. People are changing. If another tribe comes to meet us that way, then it goes against that. Now, let's use an animal and eat instead. So I hear that is how we got the festival abortory. It's had that maybe tribes and maybe small communities have to go hunting for that animal. I think it's a deer, and whoever finds the deer wins, and it goes to the animal is slaughtered spiritually or traditionally, and its blood used to clean the land and everything, and then now it goes to surface that initial act of sacrifice done by one person. If that's the case, then I feel sometimes we just need to analyze things very carefully. Another instance, we know some cultures engage in tribal marks, and it's like you see some tribal marks and go like, oh my god, they nearly destroyed your face, with some marks on the body and all that, incisions. Probably now I don't see much of that, but a new culture has come up, and that is tattooing. To spend a night, people actually go to the salon, pay lots of money to get some ink and other incisions on their body to represent what they stand for. So somebody could have a lion, somebody could have some flower. I'm going to have one very soon, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, if culture is a way of life, then it gets to be modified periodically. Okay, so the point is the fact that we are cultural people and we are trying to preserve our land doesn't mean we just have to go with all kinds of cultures because our ancestors were doing it. Now, as far as I know, there's no human being without fault, and it could just be, I'm just assuming, that one culture was brought about just by some misbehavior or false information from one leader, and now the people held on to it, or probably out of fear of one leader. So the people held on to it, and nobody could really sit down to analyze this whole thing, the implications and all that. It's like, yeah, let's just carry that on. So that now you try to argue it out or give reason as to why some of these cultures can be modified, and your own people go against it. They're like, you're against culture, you're ignorant, they get surprised at you and all that. Meanwhile, I'm just a free thinker. I'm just using my mind and just observing everything that's going on. I'm like, yeah, we can do this way, we can do that way, or in this time, well, this kind of culture. Like, for instance, pouring libation. I know conscious friends who say the Africans are in traditional path. To them, pouring libation is of no essence because, you're just pouring drink on the floor. Who is drinking? That is their thought, and it is working for them. There are others who feel you need to set an altar. Others like, I don't need an altar. I am the altar. As far as I'm going in and out every day and I'm living in balance with myself, meditating, it's enough. There's no altar. So at the end of the day, people get to work with what suits them, their time, where they are. Sometimes you hear some cultural rules are like, really? How can I live by that in this 21st century? And yeah, it just doesn't sync with you, so you don't flow with it. So yeah, we learn from everywhere. We pick lessons in and out from all places. By the end of the day, the essence of this whole awakening is to work with your own freedom, your time, your essence. Because like church, you went to church in the morning, you have to sit through everything, you have to try and engage in everything. If you are not doing that, then you're a tyrant, this, that. Eventually, if you're fed up, you have to walk out of the church. But the beauty of this whole spiritual or awakening journey is that now you are your own church, you are your own God, you are your own devil, if you are not working right with yourself. So sit with yourself, work with what is best for you. If it's cool, do. If it's not, then always revise till you get what is best for you, and then you can learn to stay in balance with you and be at peace with everyone. So grand rising to us all, and let's see what we're discussing in this video. Okay.